we're predominantly recognised as being innovators in test and measurement. Our handheld products, which I'll describe in a moment, in just about every broadcast on every continent in the world, so it's been a kind of real success story for us. So what I'm going to talk to you today about is the product range and where we're going with a brand new product. But I'd first like to introduce you to two people on the stand with me today. Philip Adams, who's the founder of Phabrix, and he'll say something about new technologies as we reach that part. But I'd like to introduce you to a new member of the team, Martin Mulligan, who's our new sales director, who might want to introduce himself.
Hi. So Martin Mulligan, I'm the sales director. I worked with Paul together during our formative years in Clontel many moons ago. So I'm very excited to be at Phabrix. This is a game-changing time. So if you get the opportunity, come and see the QX. Thank you.
Okay, so what's new in the SX and RX? Well, just to give you a recap of the product range, these are the SXEs are probably our most popular product, and we've got many of these installed in broadcasters. But we have a range of 4 in the series. Why have we been so successful? Partly it's because I think we produce products that people want, and they've been designed by engineers for engineers. And if you look at some of the accolades from the testimonials which people have given us on our products, it's actually very nice to be part of the team that's produced a product that people feel real affection for and continue to. Sorry about that, I came out a little louder than I thought. But as you can see, yeah, that's it, so everybody asleep there isn't asleep anymore. But I'm pleased to say that our handhelds have gone over 5,500 units in the world, so that shows, I'll give you an indication of just how popular they are. Well, we continue to develop the product. This one is the tag, the SX tag, which we released last year. What's interesting about this product, it's very cost effective. And it also supports many interfaces, analog, SDI, optical. And one of its key features is the toolset supports both video and audio, but it has the ability to put in obviously the new technology that's getting into everything, which is SFPs. So if you're needing to test any of the interfaces where an SFP is involved, then the SX tag is obviously pitched right into that chord. Because we're test and measurement, we're fully aware that the little cage can wear out after a while, so we have a replaceable MSA and non-MSA cage for those people who are testing routers. In a router you might get 300 of these SFPs you might need to test. Well, clearly you'll probably wear out the cage in time, but the innovation within the product is such that you can flip out the cage and put a new one back in. This is the standard toolset on the product, and if you compare it with anybody else on in the market today, you'll see that the instruments are quite literally vast. There's a whole range of instruments for a video engineer to test both video, audio and data, which is obviously getting increasingly important in the industry. It has some analog screens, as I've highlighted them there, to do with testing, reference, etc. We even have an analog eye that you can look at on the product. And so it's been important in those areas where there's a transition all the way from analog through to HD, and we find that in Latin America and in Asia where our products are very popular. Well, what's new? This is an interesting development on the tag. It requires an HDMI SFP, but what this does is it actually interrogates, once you've plugged in an HDMI into any monitor or any HDMI device, it will actually look for the EDID detail within the monitor in this case. That can be very useful because I was talking to somebody, in fact just this morning, it was ESPN, who have a big video wall, and they were changing the video and changing the monitors out in that wall, but they needed to test some of them to see if they could leave them there. And the easiest way for them to do it was to actually interrogate them with the EDID information. It took them a week to do it with traditional methods. He saw this morning and said that would have changed the way we test our monitors within ESPN. So again, it's got a ready audience, we know, and for a product that retails around $3,000, it's actually a very good price. If you look at the other option that we provide, clearly it's an SFP that will do in and out. In this case, we're using it to generate HDMI signals. So again, you've got the versatility of being able to plug in the tag into a monitor and then set it with a few test patterns or whatever, just to check that the monitor is actually doing exactly what you want at the standard that you wanted to do that. We also produce a rack mount range. This is the RX2000, the 1000 and the 500. And again, one of the key features you get with Phabrix products is you get a lot of tools in the product. This isn't the option that you're looking at here, this is the standard tool set. And I suppose most significant of all, it still has audio and video. But we've added closed captioning and loudness to the tool set. So you've got one product that can sit very comfortably in a rack, be it the small RX500 or the RX2000 with audio speakers on board. And you've got one singular test and measurement site that you can put your signals through and test the integrity of them. So again, very popular. And I'm pleased to say that 2015 was a good year. So we did sell more RX sales than ever before. In fact, to two primary customers, I think I'm allowed to say who they are because I haven't given us permission to mention their name, but just because we're friends and we're in this room, NBC was one big client. HBO doesn't have as many as NBC. I have to say NBC is getting into over the 30s, 40s mark. And Astro, which is a Malaysian station, has over 50 of our units in there. So that was a big news for us last year. And yeah, it's quite exciting. Well, what have we added in 2016? Well, what's interesting, and I'm trying to make this point with this slide, is that this is a product that we're constantly developing. So we listen to the feedback from our customers, and those features go into new developments on the RX. And as a company, we provide a lifetime support for the product. And many of these are free upgrades. One was quite a radical one, which was to do with the interface, where we changed it radically, again based on the feedback from our customers. This was 16 new instruments which we put on an IBC, again just to show you the scale of the development of the product. And we react very much to what our customers ask us to do. But this is new at NAB. This is an audio mix mode, and it shows you the sophistication within the audio toolsets on the RX. You don't normally find this in what would be considered a waveform monitor, but here you have, you're looking at 16 channels of audio here, but if you look where the white arrows are, there's some quite interesting functions within that audio metering screen. One is the solo button, so that's actually very useful for an engineer to actually switch off any of the channels to see that they're actually there, so kind of very neat implementation there. And at the bottom, you can see that they can physically do left, right switch offs of each of the channel, and you've got phase metering under each of the stereo pairs. So again, a lot of instrumentation that you might expect just in one instrument, let alone the 25 instruments that you get and more on the RX. And that doesn't only apply to SDI, it applies to Dolby as well. So again, if you put in 5.1, it will automatically set the meters for you. So it just makes life easier. And again, this was us reacting to NBC, who wanted a little more functionality in the audio meters, and we developed it for them. So again, exciting technology for them, and I'm very pleased with the developments that are going through. This is another new feature. This is True Peak. Loudness, kind of a bane of our life in the sense that everybody interprets loudness differently, but there are rules, and one of the big rules is True Peak. So we've added True Peak to it, and you can see that depending on which of the pairs is beyond the reference which you set here in the setup screen, then it will alarm. It will actually flash as red. So a lot of our European customers have asked us for it, and I'm pleased to announce at NAB that we have True Peak metering on our loudness function. Again, a standard feature on the RX. And last but not least on the RX is more support for closed captioning. In the States, it is all about running different channels or different channels within the closed caption. So you've got Spanish on one, English on the other, etc., etc. We've done a lot of work again with NBC. They've used us to develop what they need within the product, 608 and 708. And their key point there was that they wanted to show 608 and 708 side by side, because sometimes they get out of sync. So it's a nice feature for them. And we've added this, which is a line detect instrument. Why is this important? Well, in modern industry, you have to obviously carry signals in different lines on the video. What happens if somebody accidentally puts it on line 21 when it's supposed to be on line 9? There's no way of finding out. But with our system, it will actually flag which line it's on. So all that delaying culture of, you know, where is the data coming from, is all solved by looking at the instrument, and you can tell which line is carrying WST or 608, 708. So again, making it very easy for the engineers. And that's why this has been a very good product within QC situations, or quality control situations. And here you have a whole suite of ancillary data menus, which we support on the RX, again, as standard. Okay, well that's our traditional range. I'm very excited to be here today with Phil, obviously our Managing Director, and I'm going to sit back just a moment while he's going to describe the QX, not in too much detail, he'll take all the steam out of my presentation, but just to tell you how important the QX is to the development of Phabrix.
Range first, which was the SX range, and then we had the RX range right mount, and that was taking us into a much more competitive situation, I guess, with some industry leaders in test and measurement. And about 18 months ago, we started looking at UHD TV and what implications that would have for us as a manufacturer. And we came up with a brand new technology, which is the QX range. Now this has something like 20 times the power of our previous RX range. The RX still continues, it's still perfect for the applications it's aimed at, but we have the QX now, which is, as I say, it's a brand new platform. A very exciting platform, a lot of world firsts in here. So the I search on this has better than 32 gig bandwidth. Now that's a bit of detail, but this is the only one in the market that can do that has that. And it's the equivalent of using a $50,000 scope or even a $250,000 scope. It's got that level of quality on the front end. Because everything's about compliance now. So this is a perfect product for compliance to do with UHD TV, but also the older standards, the 3G, SD, etc. So compliance is what it's all about, and it's got the physical layer side to it. But at the same time, the whole world's going IP, so that represents a whole different set of requirements. So we designed this to be a true hybrid. So it's we're probably one of the only manufacturers at this point who's got a proper next generation product targeted at both IP and at 12 gig development. And I was very excited a few months ago. We went around a lot of the main manufacturers in Canada, so we visited about 14 manufacturers, all very excited about this. Most of them have got them on order, and we're starting shipping this month. So this is serious next generation product from a company that's known for innovation, and there are lots of innovations in this. If you follow the handheld, we started supplying the handheld about 2008. We're still supplying the same handheld, but the firmware and software in there has developed tremendously. This is the QX. The QX is just coming on the market now. I fully expect to be continuing to develop this for the next 3 to 5 years as all these standards evolve and as we adopt those standards within here. So this is really exciting. Lots of world firsts. And we as a company, we design all our own products. We own our own IP. We're still a privately owned business. We're 35 people based in the UK, and we spend more than twice the industry average on research and development. I'll pass you back to Mark.
I'll steal on my lines, but there we go. Okay, so sit back for a minute and see how I've spent my marketing budget. Okay, well I'm going to tell you a story now, and I'm going to tell you a little bit of story about the creation of a new technology. Technology from Phabrix has developed really from the people who make up Phabrix. We've grown from 4 in 2008, and now we're currently at, I think it's 35, 36, and as Phil has said, it's the people in our company that make the the innovation, and we're very lucky to have a lot of very intelligent, very clever people. And they've been working on this new platform for quite a while. In fact, it's got to the point where it's developed beyond, behind what we've now moved on to is a lot of new features. We're growing up with this new technology. In fact, we did actually show part of it at IBC last year, so you may have been in a press conference there. But now we've gone beyond that. The technology is such that we're ready to get very excited about the features that we're putting on the product. And the icons that you see here are part of the developments that have gone into the QX. Okay, so why have we needed to remake or change the platform? Well, as Phil has alluded to it, things are changing. The old technology isn't going to cut it when it comes to the bandwidths that we're talking about with UXDTV. And if you look at the UXDTV challenge that is at the moment, with just the 4 key ones that you've got on the side there, we had to look at a hybrid solution that would support standards, would support compliance testing. And so, as you've probably sat through a few Cinti meetings and gone through all the standards, which is probably mind-numbing, but there are more standards than there ever have been in the past. And clearly somebody has got to test those, and that's where Phabrix has positioned itself. We've positioned ourselves with tool sets which are very specific in the broadcast sector. So whereas you could get some of these features within a very expensive oscilloscope, the good thing about Phabrix is that we are in the engineering business, so we know exactly what's required. So a lot of the major manufacturers have turned to Phabrix at this stage to find a product that will offer them compliance testing. And as we go forward, then we're going to put on more and more advanced tool sets to help them even more. Well, why is it important? Well, the world is going 4K, UXDTV, it's a quality side of the business, but wherever you see it, then there are products that are going to be made. And clearly monitors are the one that kind of everybody has been introduced to at the moment. But as we know, cameras are coming out 2 a dozen, and in fact, big manufacturers like Asia look to Phabrix to support them as we've done in the past. And that's where our development on the QX has been significant. Well, here it is. This is the product. If you take the lid off, then the technology, well, it doesn't look like there's a lot in the box, but of course, microelectronics today is such that you've got a board which is many, many layers deep to support UXDTV. On the back of it, this is the engine of the UXDTV QX. You can see that it's powered by 4 12-gig inputs and 4 12-gig outputs. So if you start adding up that's a 48 gigabit per second payload. That's an extraordinary piece of technology. It really is, and there is not anybody out there that is coming close to offering this at the moment. It has a very specific customer. It is a manufacturing customer who needs bandwidth going right the way through to 8K. But at the beginning I showed you some icons. Where did these icons come from? Well, really they're the icons which power a brand new interface. It's a revolutionary way of looking at instruments, and if we look at it very briefly, it's very easy to select the instruments, and the icons then drive the features for compliance. And as we bring up the images, you can see some of the things which are implicit in the requirement to test UXDTV. Clearly picture's an easy one. There's all the data associated with it. It's T352 packets. All of that needs to be controlled and tested to reach compliance. But the interface is more than that. It can morph. What do we mean by that? Well, at the bottom you can see the small icons, and they've got a little kind of orange glow around them. That's telling me that it's supporting one of the inputs. You can also see that the inputs have an orange glow around each of them. But the great thing about the interface is, if you're only interested in a few, you need to group them on page, because you're going to bring up, say you have to look at 2 6 gig inputs to make a 12 gig signal, then you have a different colour associated with them. So the brains behind that and the smarts behind making it simple is what's gone into this product. And obviously you've got contextual windows which you can further define the instruments. So with any preset you wish to create, it will save it down. And so here you have a very sophisticated compliance set of tools. And on the V1 toolset, which we've released at NAB, these are the compliance tools that you need. Now, again, some of you out there clearly may not be engineers, so this has probably gone over your head. But if we look at where it's important, then you can see that the compliance requirements for a manufacturer mean that all of these elements need to be fulfilled by the equipment. And this is what it comes down to in its basic form. This is the SIMT UHD-TV physical layer, and part of compliance is that you look at various aspects of the signal. So you can look at amplitudes, you can look at overshoot, undershoot, those kind of things. But you need, obviously, a sophisticated box that can test from HD to 3G, 6G, all the way up to 12 gig, which is what the QX provides for a manufacturer. And compliance testing also means that we as a company have to understand the standards very well, and the green standards that you see there are standard in the QX, so we already cover the mainstream of the UHD TV requirement at the moment. But the technology, because it can support 48 gigabits per second, can be extended, and obviously we offer an option as the orange and the blue as you go towards that 8K kind of climb. And again, our Japanese customers are very excited about the product. And this is the unique piece of technology that Phil was talking about. It's of all the things that you need a physical eye pattern. And we've got a patented eye technology, which has got a trademark associated with it, which we call real-time eye. What does that mean? It means that unlike others, where they process it in the chip, there's a delay, and you're not actually seeing all the data. And indeed, you can't see the overshoot or the undershoot, which is part of the compliance testing. So, hey, you can't use that technology to do proper broadcast compliance verification. But you can with this. And what you're looking at there is obviously a still, but it's a still of a 12 gig eye. And if you get a chance to come and see the technology on the stand, then I think you'll see just the kind of order of the bandwidth that this product can deal with. And it is a very unique USP that we don't believe anybody else has got any answer to at the moment, which is why we're having all the manufacturers coming to talk to us, because they need to test. The product, again, Phil mentioned it, is hybrid. It will support 4K, 8K, and it has the ability to support IP as it comes through. Those standards need to be ratified more, but obviously we're in conversations with Aspen, the UHD TV Alliance, so they've kept us, in the fold, so to speak, because they too need a technology that will support them. So, just to sum up, thank you for your patience. What you're going to see here is just some little headings which I hope you'll take away with you. For that, I think you've all come today. We thank you for your support, but part of us saying thank you for taking the time out of your day is that, we do a very amusing mouse mat, which you may or may not wish to take away with you, but for those of you who do, there's one at the back. We also have these commemorative journalist notepad. They're a very nice product which you can get from Christine at the back there. And if you wouldn't mind supporting us, we do have our press release which is available. And just to say from all of us up here on the panel, thank you very much for joining us today.